Okay. Good evening. I want to take a minute and just have us drop in. I know some of you, I've been communicating back and forth, has had kind of a tough day today, and that's okay. So I encourage you just take a deep breath. Mm. Let whatever was there today be gone. We don't need to hang on to it for the night. It'll come back if it's meant to. And just do your best to be present this evening. So tonight we really embark on a conversation that I've been working on for a while, and it sits at the heart of awakening. It really sits at the heart of nature, of reality itself. Now we're going to explore this through three powerful frameworks. The first is the collective accepted reality, or CAR. The second is personal authored reality, or we'll call it PAR. The third is the 7 levels of awareness. And as all of you know, that's a basis of everything that I do. And then lastly is the traveler's path of awakening. Together, these reveal how we move from the unconscious conformity to a conscious creation and then to embodied authorship. So settle in, take a breath. You may need some notes. You'll get a recording of this afterwards. But we're going to be walking between two worlds here for a while. I want to start with this concept of collective accepted reality, what I'll reference as CAR. You're going to hear me reference that throughout. See, the moment we enter this world, we step into a story that was written before we were born. And here's what the story tells you: how the world works, what success looks like, and who you should be, and what's possible for someone like you. This is the collective's dream, the narrative inherited from culture, from family, from religion, from politics, from education, and from the overall society. You know what makes it so powerful? It's invisible. You don't see the car because you live inside of it. Mm. It's kind of like telling a fish that they're in water. He doesn't know he's in water because he just is. Now, I know for some of you, you were taught to line up and sit down. And I'm going to ask you to do that here. Sit down, buckle up, and follow this map for a while. See, the route we were given, it was predetermined. The expectations were very clear. And the approval of others is the gas that kept the vehicle moving. Mm. Most people enter their lives as passengers, trying to be good riders, trying not to disturb the vehicle, trying so hard to belong. Anyone? Anyone live their life to fit in, to belong? But here's the truth: the car's not reality. It's an accepted reality, one that we've accepted along the way. Let me repeat that. The car is not reality. It is an accepted reality. It's a shared agreement, not an absolute truth. It's not wrong. It's not evil, but it's incomplete. The car, sorry about the throat. The car only becomes a problem when you forget that you're not born to be a passenger. You were born to be aware. Hmm. See, every traveler eventually reaches a moment. You know, it's a a quiet, private moment, maybe, maybe not, when something inside whispers, this isn't me, or there has to be more to this. For me, and many of you know the story, it was the voice that said, nothing fits. This is an awakening impulse. It's the first crack in that collective narrative. It is what has us start to question what's there. Now, it may come to you in so many different ways. It may come to you as discomfort. It may come to you as burnout. It may come to you as a loss. It may come to you as a breakthrough or a breakdown. And it may come to you as a question that won't go away. Something in you begins to see the vehicle instead of simply riding inside of it. Awakening begins with awareness. Awareness interrupts the conditioning. Awareness opens the door. This is really the beginning of stepping outside of the car, not to reject it. And I want to say that it's not to reject the car, but it is to see it clearly. Now, as you think about our relationship with reality, it evolves through those 7 levels of awareness. And we're going to walk through those together slowly tonight. As I do, I invite you to make some notes about where you might be in this process. And in the follow-up email, I'll include a link to the YouTube video that really explores the 7 levels a little bit deeper. So let's start with level 1. Lowest vibration, lowest level is survival. It's where a majority of humanity resides. See, reality feels threatening. The collective story is unquestioned. Safety is our only priority. And the car is our entire world. And then we move into level 2. That level is conformity. You adapt the collective rules to gain belonging. A lot of time, this means giving something up. Your identity is shaped by what others expect. And the car becomes your identity. Level 3, this is where we start to see things. This is the seeking level of awareness. This is where curiosity starts to awaken. And you start asking questions like, is this true? Or is this mine? This is the first crack in that windshield. And I say, it's not about breaking the windshield. It's just about the crack. Now, I live here in Colorado, and most of us in Colorado know all you need is just a crack. That over time, that crack widens, and eventually you replace the windshield. Level 3 is that first crack. Level 4 is when we move to self-awareness. You start to see conditioning clearly. You realize the map that was handed to you was not yours. You didn't choose it. You were given it by friends, by family, by religion. This level is where the door to the car opens. Our next is level 5, devotion. This is where you commit to living in alignment. Now, this is different from discipline. This is devotion. Your strategy and authority becomes your compass. You begin walking outside of the vehicle. And it's pretty interesting when we do this. Level 6, this is integration. This is where you learn how to accept you wholly and totally. You return to the collective consciously. You can engage without merging, and you learn how to walk between the worlds. Level 7, embodiment. This is where your presence reshapes the collective field. Your influence, you influence reality through your coherence. You become a living map. This is the evolution. Car awareness to par, passenger, traveler to the author. We move through conditioning to see consciousness to move into creation. This is the part I really love. If that was a little much, take a break, jot some notes about maybe where you're living right now in this car. And we all are. Don't think that we aren't. We all live inside of this car in one form or frame of another. But this is the transition. This is personal, authored reality. I call it par. And you author this through your level of awareness. You author it through your alignment. You author it through lived experiences, through truth, your design, and your presence. Par emerges when you begin making choices from your inner authority rather than collective's expectation. And it's a shift from what does the world want from me to what is true for me to live. Now get that par is not meant to pull you away from the world. It's meant to return you to the world with a new perspective. And that's important. You might want to write that down. See, par is not meant to pull you away from the world. It's almost impossible. But it's meant to return you to the world with a new perspective. I mean, that's reality, right? Is how we see the world is our perspective. And when you author your reality, you no longer move inside of the world's conditioning, and you move of the world. Let me clarify. See, being in the world means you are shaped by it. Being of the world means you bring awareness into it. One is unconscious participation. The other is conscious contribution. When you stand in your par, you no longer need the collective's validation. You walk with the world without being consumed by it. You influence the collective narrative from a place of sovereignty. This is the essence of living reality by design. So let's bring it together. There's 3 stages in this journey. The first level is the passenger, being in the world. And I love what Tobias was saying about, curating Facebook feeds and what's in there. And that's a stepping out of the car and into that par. Because being in the world is awareness levels 1 through 3: survival, conformity, seeking. You live inside the collective dream. You absorb its stories. You obey its rules. You're shaped by its momentum. And the second part of this is stepping outside of the world, and that's being a traveler. That's in levels 4 and 5. You awaken, you see conditioning, you reconnect to your design. And I say that because we've been disconnected from our true self. This last trip was really fun because I did a lot of stuff, kind of quote, being sick and not being able to do what I wanted to do, is around Carl Jung's work. And we'll be talking about some of that. But it's interesting how he talks about the self, and we talk about true self. See, when you reconnect to your design, this is the threshold. This is the threshold. This is the space where you step into deconditioning. Next level is the author, being of the world, not in a world. This is integration and embodiment. So you return to the world with a different level of awareness. And yes, we're always moving through it, but you learn how to walk between the worlds. You participate without conforming. I remember it's about knowing the rules of the game and how to play the game, not by the rules, but around the rules. And that's what we're doing with this. We're learning how to not only learn the rules, but create our own. See, you influence by presence, not pressure. This is the moment you live, not as a product of the collective, but as a contributor to its evolution. And that's what we're all here to do, is contribute to the evolution of humanity. Some people take that on. Some people choose not to. Some people it's given to them and they don't want to, and that's okay. See, awaken is not withdrawal. It's not isolation. It's not rebellion. Awakening is walking through the world with your eyes open, your compass aligned, and your awareness intact. This is the journey from CAR, collective accepted reality, to PAR, personal authored reality, which goes through authorization to embodiment. This is the path from being in the world to being of the world. To consciously shaping the world we live in. Remember that every level of awareness has a language. Survival level is, why is this happening to me? Embodiment is, how is this happening through me? I invite you to carry this truth with you tonight. The collective dream is not false. It's simply unfinished. And you are one of the authors. Now, if this resonated with you and you're not already part of the Callison 2025 or the Inner Circle program, I invite you to explore what it would mean to travel with like-minded travelers walking the path seeking truth. If you have questions regarding those problems and those programs, please reach out to me. Now, we have some time left. I would love to hear if there was some ahas, or if you have any questions that you might have about this lesson. If so, simply unmute your mic and come into the call and let's talk. Now, surely I didn't do that good of a job. There isn't a question or at least an aha. Come on, folks.
I think Keith had asked what was level 2, if you could go back over that real quick for him.
Yes. So level 2 is conformity. So level 1 is survival. Level 2 is conformity. Level 3 is seeking. And then moving into self-awareness, devotion, integration, and embodiment. And conformity is one of the hardest levels. No, let me rephrase that. Conformity is where we start to see a different world. And it's when we stick our head out almost like, and the world we live in, depending on the world we live in, might play what I call whack-a-mole. Ever go to the thing, where you have the mole head comes out, right? And you try to whack that mole. That's conformity. You don't want to stick your head out because somebody's going to whack it. But sticking your head out is how you break out of that car. So whoever had that question, I hope that helps.
I thought I would add something because I thought it was kind of fun.
Okay.
Is I've been using ChatGPT. I've set up. I've kind of tried to use it like Jarvis. So I've used it to kind of integrate a wisdom council that I go back and forth with, and one of the um, one of the things for me is I'm both a spiritual person and my job is very technical, and
Mm.
so I'm losing myself in one, or I feel like I should drop one so I can focus more on the other. And what was really kind of fascinating is I've been working. I basically asked ChatGPT how I could integrate this, and so what's very fascinating and fun is as you were talking, I have it up here in front of me, and literally the minute that you said embodiment, directly in front of me on the screen is phase 3 embodiment. Become the man who naturally teaches, guides, and leads with depth. Uh,
Mm.
and I thought that was kind of fun because basically what this is saying is I am simply who I am. And instead of trying to be this over there or be this over here, the idea is that I take who I am and integrate that into what I do. And be the man both of the technical side and the spiritual side and bring that into the work that I do. So I just thought that was, we're talking about the Celestine prophecy, right? And that in the Calcin stuff. And yeah, I just thought that was really like the minute you said embodiment, literally central on my screen is I was scrolling down and it goes embodiment. And I was like, okay, cool. I have to listen to that term. So good stuff.
Hang on. I'm blown away right now. Is Well, if you're reading the Celestine Prophecy, which I know you are and a few others are, and it's all about synchronization. And that right there, Tobias, is synchronicity. And it's amazing how um, I'll be working and I look down at the clock and it's 1:11. Or I was doing something the other day and I looked down and it's 3:33. It scared me when I looked down and it was 6:66. But no, that was a different thing. That was a joke. But it's about synchronization and being aware of it. Do you know, Toby, most people go through the life oblivious of those synchronizations, totally oblivious. And that's telling me something about you in raising that level of awareness for you. So great job. Thank you for sharing.
It's a lot of fun. So we'll see where it goes.
Exactly. I mean, it's a ride, right? So let's just see where it goes. Yeah, and
Yeah.
this year's going to be a great one. Yeah. Anyone else?
I have a question.
Okay. Hey, Adrian.
Hi everyone. Hi Robert. It's really got me thinking, like I'm trying to figure out where I'm at in these levels. Also, the besides, it sounds like so you're covering the 7 levels of awareness, but then also where are we at from car to par? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So what resonated for me was create our own rules, learn how to play around the rules. I feel like that's been my whole life. Like, like everything doesn't quite work unless I find a way around it or something in lots of categories and lots of areas. Like work, school, friends, whatever, relationships, like it's not done by the rules. It's like, so I think I guess my soul connects with that. But then my question is, sometimes it's like, it doesn't equal happiness. Like, what are we supposed to be happy? Like, it equals, in my case, sometimes more pain, problems, suffering, nightmare. So, like, yeah, I'm happy, I guess, that I'm learning playing by my own rules, but then you get punished. You still have to pay the bills, or you still have to be under a boss. You still have to. So I don't know. I want to get some feedback. If any others chime in of their experiences, maybe of, okay, playing not by the rules, but then we get burned as well.
Yeah, Adrian, I got you. Okay. A couple of things I heard, and I know you and I have talked about, right? Is what happens to us. Okay, hold on. What if what happens to us is not punishment? Okay.
Just experience, sure. Yeah.
Experience. Okay. So you ask, what level am I at, right? If you look at that right there, what I see is that's a collective accepted reality for you is when bad things happen, that's punishment. And I did wrong.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So there's always consequences, and consequences aren't necessarily bad. We've learned, we've been taught, you better behave or there's going to be consequences. But anytime there's a choice and decision made, there will be consequences or results. That's
Sure.
out. So it comes back to, how do I follow that inner compass? That authority that we all have, each one of us has a different one, depending on our design and that kind of thing. How do we follow that in our decision-making process? Now, some of you have more conditioning than others, right? And and I know for some of you, we have been sifting through and picking out and as it comes up. And that's the good thing about it is, as we move through those conditioning comes to the top so we can do that. But when we're afraid to do that, because what happens when we make that decision and we leave a group or we start dressing differently or we, whatever it is, taking us out of that conformity is scary because it's unknown. Right? There's not that's the threshold. Remember, you and I have talked about that field of crossing. That field of crossing is the unknown. So when you look at this, think about it as layers, right? And if you use the 7 layers, the 7 levels as the bottom level, everything is through a level of awareness. So if you're worried about making a decision and it will be wrong, which level of awareness would you say you're living in?
Well, I'm not worried it's wrong. I'm past that one. Like, I have no problem going against the norm, doing things my own way, finding my own way, like standing up to collective, or just not going along with, we'll say, the sheep. It's more the I guess pain and problems that come from doing that.
Yeah.
So is that just part of it? Like, when do we ever get the joy, peace, happiness that we hear about. Like, okay, this example's coming to my mind. I don't know if you guys have seen that funny Saturday Night Live where they're showing abduction by aliens in two different experiences of their questioning. And one experience is it was loving, kind, light. They embraced me, took me in. It was all light, love, pie, do you guys know what I'm talking about? And then the other experience was, what are you talking about? They did all these experiments on me, and it was, very brutal experience. So it was like, for some reason that just popped in my head. I don't know if it applies, that we hear about, the love, light, embrace, the higher vibration, 5D living, everything. I'm waiting for that. Like, I'm still getting experimented on and brutally brutalized by trying to be doing it different.
Okay. All right. So can I be honest?
Sure.
How much conditioning have you had?
All my life till my 40s.
Exactly. How long has it taken you to get where you are today?
Like, to start unplugging
Yeah. Now, how
from
long has it taken you?
conditioning.
How long has it taken you to get to who you are today?
I would say I'm on like I'm going on 10 to 15 years of unplugging. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So remember, you and I have talked, and for everybody on the call, there's a thing called law of gestation. Everything has a gestation period. For some, that gestation period is real short. For others, the gestation period is real long. And if you relay it to birth, right? And I haven't been through this, so I'm just relaying this from secondhand, is birth is painful. And it's messy and it's yucky and it's bloody. But what I know is when you get the baby, what is it? Do you focus on the pain and everything you just went through? Or do you focus on this loving bundle that's in your hand?
Hmm.
Got that? To get through the
Sure.
birth, get to the happiness, sometimes we have to go through the pain. And when we accept that it's all part of the journey, that pain starts to subside. And it is for me anyway. That's been this last 5 years for me have been pretty brutal in some cases. And are there things that I would have done differently? Yes. Are there things but I know that everything I did has brought me to who I am today, sitting here with you. And I'm happy. Now, doesn't mean I don't have to pay my bills. Doesn't mean I didn't get sick last week traveling. None of that goes away. Because happiness isn't an outside thing in, it's an inside out. Happiness resides here. It's not something we go find. Oh, there it is. It's over there on the counter. Let me go get it. Does that help?
Sure.
And you've come so far in the short amount of time we've already been traveling together. Look at where you are. And you got a lot, girl. There's still, look, here's another container. Hold on. What's under here? Oh, yeah, that, right? Yeah, I know.
But
So
when do we get to the other side?
when you get there, I mean, it's that simple.
Uh,
There's that sound you make.
I'm still in the birth canal, I guess.
I know you are. And you are hanging on to all, like I am not going down this thing. Come through. Come join us.
Hey, Adrian, is it okay if I share?
Sure.
So I guess I can't say I was somewhat of a conformist when I was younger, but I've always had kind of a wild streak. And I went into the military, and if you want to come into a collective understanding of something for somebody that's not collective, it was one of the most painful times of my life. And so I served 10 years, a few deployments, um, but the level of the level of trouble I got into that was heaped upon me because I didn't conform, right? And it wasn't whether or not I was right or not. It was moving away from a collective. And what that taught me, because when you talk about pain, I had a lot of pain, a lot of paperwork. I had people screaming interest from my face, spitting in my face, telling me I was worthless, telling me I didn't deserve to wear a uniform, all because I questioned something they may have done. And during that time, I doubted who I was. I felt like I was a horrible human being, even though I felt what I was doing was good. Like I was trying to serve other people, and it didn't make much sense to me at all. In fact, I felt victimized, um, and that took me 15, 20 years to get through. Okay, I'm now almost 50. Um, and if you ask me then till now, what now in the place that I'm in, I ask, what was that about? Because that was all my younger years, right? It was very formative. I learned through there both how not to be because I was treated so horribly. I don't treat anybody like that. I was led poorly. I don't lead like that. I had people that were dishonest. I choose to be very honest in my dealings with people, right? During the time I was in it, it didn't matter. It was painful. It was horrible. It sucked. Now, coming into now being almost 50 and walking to the other side of this thing, there comes a point where I know who I am. I'm okay with who I am. And the greatest thing for me is how can I serve and help other people in the time that I have? And so I take all of the collective experience, both good and lots of bad, and I go, okay, those for me, as he said, like that law of gestation, I kind of like that, is it took me this long for me to finally find a space in my life where I can look back and go, ah, I get it. And I'm very at peace with myself now, and I'm very at peace when I deal with other people, right? Now, I don't know if I could say that, like, sometimes when we follow all these spiritual concepts, like the 5Ds and like super happiness, and I think sometimes that sets us up for something that's not real. And I don't mean real, but unrealistic. Um, I still have my bad days. I still have days where I'm pissed off. Um, some days that I just don't like people. But in general, I've come to a point where I'm very much at peace with who I am, and I can reflect back on everything and go, man, it sucked while I was in it, but it's so worth it now because I can provide stories and experiences that help other people. And so I think for you, because I don't know your history, um, I hope something in there maybe helps as a different experience that I may have had in an environment that was super conforming and super very punishing. But like I said, I would never change that because I love who I am now. So I maybe reframe it a little bit and go, of all these things that I'm going through or this moment that I'm going through, what depth will that lead to my character? Like who I would become even better because of these things. And it kind of sucks while you're in it. But yeah, if that helps in any way.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, that really helps. Thank you.
Yeah, and while Tobias was talking, thank you so much for sharing, is if you think about it, we live a painful life, right? What's the first thing? We come into life, we go through the birth canal, and then somebody smacks us on our ass and we scream, right? We start life through pain. And then as we get to be adults, we get to choose our pain. And look at your life, girl. You have chosen to move past the pain you were enduring, right? And I won't share your on here. You and I know what that is. And it's choosing the pain. And in saying that, you can also choose, and I love what Tobias says, reframe it. We get to choose our happiness. You know, this week for me was I went to Florida to support my partner and a bunch of stuff. I felt like shit, but I still did the best I could to be there and be happy and enjoy the time. And it was not easy. It was not easy. So I'm not saying that this journey is going to be easy. There's no way it is. But there's going to be a day, I know for me there is, and I think as Tobias says, we're going to look back and go, it was worth it. And that's the point where we make that big leap into the next, whatever you want to call it, dimension or realization or reality or whatever is in preparing for this lesson tonight. I thought about where have I come in this whole conformity thing? And many of you knew when I, wore suits and I wore stuff, I couldn't even imagine myself. I don't remember what it was I was doing the other day. It's like, oh, should I have a suit? I'm like, oh, my body's like, ooh. It was almost going into convulsions. I don't even see myself. I could put on a jacket, but I don't have a tie. And I don't even choose to have a tie. And if I have to go to an event that it's a tie, I'm probably not going to go, or I'll go without a tie, right? Which is more likely just to piss people off. But so it's what we choose, Adrian, that brings us what we want. If you're afraid of the pain, you're going to choose to avoid the pain, and that pain's going to hang on. If you choose to let go of the pain and choose happiness, it's amazing how it'll show up. Does that help? Anyone else?
Thank
Anyone
you.
else? Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
I'll add the concept of power
Ooh.
and giving our power away. And, for a long time, I didn't quite understand what that meant, but just a little story, like on a day where my boss is asking me to do something that is beyond most human capacity to serve. And I stand up to him because I know what is right for myself. I know what is right for my people. And I feel that I've stepped into my power.
Mm.
Now, at the end of the day, I can walk away and feel very upset that he even asked this of me and that he doesn't know better by now. And I can get all wound up. And if I do that, I'm giving my power back to him. He took over my life. He took over my time after work. That is mine. I gave my time, my sanity, my peace to him. And he doesn't deserve it because he's a lot of 3 and 4 letter words that I probably shouldn't say right now. But I mean, truth is, I gave things that are important to me away to that jerk if I do that. And there are days when I fall into that pattern. And then there are other days where I go, okay, I did the right thing. I'm not going to feel bad about that. I'm going to be proud that I honored myself and those that I represent. And
Mm.
that's how I preserve my time, my peace, my sanity, and things that are important to me. I gave the power to myself, not to the jerk.
Thank you, Melissa. And if you don't want to, that's fine, right? Can you expand a little bit about how you've come into that following your authority? Because I mean, that's been a journey for you.
It has been a journey for me. And, part of it is just the awareness that I'm doing it. Like, we have these patterns, and maybe it's the conformity, it's the car, that we just, oh, you're an emotional being, and so you go through life in an emotional state. And oh, well, that's just my emotional reaction. No, that's my pattern. That's my habit that I don't even realize I am exhibiting. And
Mm.
so, talking about it, writing, like journaling about it, makes you more conscious of these things. And then I find that I'm in that moment going, you're doing it again. You're doing it again. So stop, breathe. You have a choice. What are you going to choose today? Are you going to choose yourself, or are you going to choose the jerk?
Hmm. See, that's devotion level. That's devotion level of awareness. Here it is. Oh, you're doing it again. And it's not judging yourself, because we're going to do that. We're going to go back. It's not like, oh, I've hit this level and I'm good now. It's, oh my God, I'll end up in survival in a heartbeat. And it's amazing what triggers me back to a survival level. Just amazing but it's the awareness of whoop. And I love what you said, Melissa. There it is again. Okay. But now I have a choice because of the level
Yeah.
of awareness.
Yeah, and the choice is not to beat myself up about it, not to judge, just to be in it. And the decision doesn't often come like in that split second of, oh, okay, now I'm going to give my power to me and I'm just going to be okay with that. No, I keep going back and forth and back and forth, and that's part of the journey, right? And so you just have to kind of practice that and be in it. It's kind of like they tell you about meditation. Your mind's gonna wander, you're going to get wound up again. And again, you get to be aware. You get to choose your response. And sometimes my choice is, no, I'm pissed off about this right now. I just am. And I'm going to go burn off that somehow. And then at the end of that yoga, or I'm going for a brisk walk or whatever it is, I say, okay, that's enough. You honored the emotion that was negative, or consuming you, or whatever, the anger, the frustration, you honored that. But that's enough. Honor yourself and your peace.
Thank you. Yeah. Any questions around that? Any thoughts?
I see Stacy laughing though.
I, well, and I've got, I think all generators on this call right now this is one of the things about coming into that generator power of knowing when enough is enough, right? And then pausing. And that's the secret is, oh, this- that didn't work. Deep breath. But it's about pausing before we merge back in. And that's the secret to this. We don't, and I saw that so much this week. And Stacy knows I drive her nuts, and driving in Florida, it's like, God, everybody is in such a rush. And they're 78. I don't know where we're coming back from. Oh, Orlando, I think. I was doing 85 miles an hour and people were passing me like I was standing still. And I'm like, it's like you question yourself and go, what is the speed limit? What are we doing? That's life. That's this piece and that's the part about being of the world, not in the world. And we get so sucked back into the world. And I found myself, oh, well, if they're doing it, I guess I better do it too. Versus, nope, let me just move over into this lane and just drive because I'm in no hurry. But it's amazing who the word judgment just came to me, but it wasn't judgment for me. It was judgment from all the people as they drive by you going, looking at you and stuff is like, yeah. And that's the part. It's just being of the world and not letting the world suck you back in. So, yeah.
You did mention it's been a journey for me, and it continues to be a journey. And so when I talk about it, I guess it's devotion to my peace. Now, I when I encounter people that I just say they've got drama, and I don't need their drama. I don't need them to drop it on me. I have gotten much, much better about, yes, I'll be nice in that moment. Yes, consider it, but this is the end. Like, now I know that this is who you are and this is what you want from me, but I'm not willing to give you that. And so what I have found, I don't know if I'm still in the birth canal or whatever, but somewhere along this journey, right? And it's still painful, but just the peace that I have in being able to just say no to these things that are not worth it to me. Like your time and quote unquote friendship is not worth it to me if I have to deal with your drama for 98% of the time. Not worth it.
Mm. Hmm.
And if I
And
flip that and say, if I choose to stay in the drama 98% of the time, where I'm only getting 2% benefit, then oh my gosh, like now I can see the flip side of it.
that was I think it was Sonia. We were at 1 million cups and we were leaving, and there was somebody there that had presented, her husband was, and as he walked out and he started talking about something, and I just looked at Sonia, and it's like we saw, you could see his conditioning, you could see his, and we were just like, because when you get aware of this, you start to look at the world differently, and you can see that drama, and people live on that drama, right? And the beauty of being able to see it, but not be pulled into it, right? What's that? Um, Not my circus and not my monkeys, or whatever that, that old saying was. So yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Anyone else? Hmm. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And if you're listening to this on the recording and you have questions, please reach out. Well, definitely we can talk about this. We can explore anything you want to explore. Um, Thank you. Thank you for being able to be here and hold space for me, not feeling good, and still being able to listen and be present. I totally appreciate it very much. So with that, I'll bring us to an end. I love you all. Take care.